You guys, if you were here with me, I would be jumping up and down and bowing down to you. This is incredible. I love
Thank you.
this short. It is.
Thank you so much.
It just, I mean, I will never look at David Krumholtz the same way ever again.
Neither will we.
This performance is Oscar worthy. His performance is
Right.
Oscar worthy. Just absolutely mesmerizing. He's kind of a cross between Victor Buono, Marlon Brando, and even some flamboyance of George Saunders thrown in there.
Right.
It is just brilliant. If you're going to have an eccentric theater teacher, you want somebody who embodies those elements.
Yeah.
And you really, boy, casting David, you guys just nailed it. Number one, I want to see a series or a feature or both.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to have that reaction, which is really nice.
Well,
It's a huge compliment.
the way you guys have structured this, you can tell that both of you are actors because of the way you celebrate the actor, you cater to the process, you differentiate different quote unquote methods that actor and tools that actors use to get into character, to bring forth a performance. But then you also take your experience as actors and you bring that into the script and to your direction, so you create an intimacy. So we feel like we're there in the theater, we are on the stage. You work with your cinematographer, Brendan Swift. I have to tell you, some of the camera angles, the dutching, and then your use of ECUs, your extreme close-ups, are killer. They are so powerful. And so much of that, I truly believe, comes from your experience as actors and what you would like. If you're portraying something and somebody's got a pool noodle and they're trying to shove it in your mouth, you really want that angst to be caught on camera. You want that in your face. You're choking to death. You want that in your face. And you really, this whole thing, it is just from beginning to end, every element, so well done. Where did you guys even start with this?
Well, we had a feature-length script, and within that there was a scene where Max goes to his first acting class, and we were kind of hitting a wall with the feature script, and so we decided let's extract the scene out of it and expand upon it and go direct a short and see if we can do that for the first time too. So we took the class scene out and we kind of expanded it and filled it with everything you're talking about, our own experiences, the dread and terror that we both feel, Enzo and I, as actors in some of these classes, and the kind of existential angst involved, and we kind of imbued it with that tone, as well as also kind of not being too reverential with ourselves as actors in the process, and kind of satirizing it a little bit. That's kind of where it started.
Yeah, and I think we, as you said, we've been, all this is taken from real classes and our real experiences, but we didn't feel like, there's a lot of mediums that have done the acting class and shown that, but we wanted to sort of try or attempt to get across the experience of being in a acting class, really, so like this sort of contradiction between feeling that almost you're bearing your soul in a way you have to do that, but it's like both traumatizing and rewarding at the same time. But the fear involved in getting up on stage, the vulnerability, and we just wanted that to lean into that angle of like trying to connect you to what it's actually like to be in acting class, where that's like your whole world, basically.
I have to say, Enzo, your performance as Max is just so amazing.
Oh, thank you.
I really believed that you were somebody in your very first acting class, and first you're staring, and it's like, all right, you see, I saw the trepidation and outright cold sweat on your face as to, oh my God, who is this guy? What am I doing? And then when you get plunged into, all right, give me this. Did you prepare something? And David was so, in that moment, he was so Victor Buono. It was, all I kept thinking is Victor Buono is King Tut in Batman. But, but your expression, and as you're trying to deliver, and as you're being tormented, really, and the camera's coming in closer. You guys, I've got to talk to you about working with Brendan and coming up with your visual tonal bandwidth here. But Max, you really draw us in. For anybody that's never been in an acting class, okay, they may never want to go to an acting class after seeing this, but you really capture us. You capture the audience, just as if you were somebody on stage in a live performance, and you don't let
that
go.
Was the goal.
Well, you succeeded beautifully.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tell me about working with Brendan and coming up with your visual tonal bandwidth, your lighting design, because it is warm, it is intimate.
Yes.
You keep everything contained, and as we go through the class, the camera keeps coming in closer. You go from a wider mid shot in the theater, and then slowly honing in on the stage, closer, 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 closer. So talk to me about this visual design you came up with.
Well, the first challenge was making a black box theater visually interesting, because that was the first hurdle. Was how do we, it's self-contained within this dark black space, and how do we make that somewhat visually interesting on screen? That was the first challenge. And so this warm kind of, this kind of dreamlike, warm, inviting lighting design, that was a huge part of it. And then with Brendan, we kind of, we talked a lot about horror films. Enzo and I are both very avid horror movie buffs, and that kind of, we wanted to visually get across that tension, and so that was a big part of the camera, the movement, and the kind of tension that we can bring in with these angles and with these close-ups and with these camera moves.
Starting with that isolation, of the character, and sort of getting closer as we ramp up the tension was a big part of it. And I mean, wanting it to be that horror vibe of like, it's, this very we're trapped in this theater, so it's got to be this weirdly warm environment, but also sort of claustrophobic to a way, and getting that across. Well,
I think you definitely convey that, but I love the idea that both of you love horror films. Tacitly you could be telling everybody that acting is horror. Acting class is a horror.
It is.
I think that was the big lesson. I mean, for me especially, I mean, for both of us, but every time I've been in an acting class, I feel such terror at that moment of, okay, it's my turn. here I go, and you make the walk down. You make that walk down to this. It's like walking the plank or something. Oh God, here I go, and all eyes are on you, and it's just quiet dread. Oh man, that for me in life, that's some of the scariest moments I've experienced. So why not translate that horror to horror time?
Oh my God, you guys! Now you also both were editing this along with David Siciliano. Were you editing as you went? Did you wait until you had all the footage? And I'm guessing maybe you were even editing in your mind's eye as you were shooting. But this is very interesting because you were editing, you were directing, and you were both in. You were acting as well. So how did that come into play with the editing process?
Well, it was our first short. It was our first film. So, we were green in a lot of ways, but we acted on sets before. And I think what happened is we had this idea of how it would be edited from the way we wrote the script. And then we tried to shoot for that with tone and stuff, but we really didn't know if it would work. And frankly, we got the assembly cut back, and it didn't work. And and we were going to have someone else edit it. And then we decided to take the footage back and sort of reshape it to what our vision was, which we realized we couldn't really get across verbally to someone else. We had to just do it ourselves. So, it was kind of, we were shooting for this edit, but it was really once we actually started editing ourselves that we were able to mold it the way we wanted to, sort of like a marble statue or something, just chipping away till we got to what we were trying to get across.
Like as Enzo said, it's impossible to convey what we see in our heads to anyone else. So thankfully we had David kind of helping us with the technical aspects of editing and his creative contribution, but primarily, we had to just take it back and stick to the vision we had in the first place. And another thing is because there's two of us, it's Enzo and I, writing, directing, and editing together. It would have been impossible to do if it was just one of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We had each other to bounce off.
Yeah, I'm curious.
And Krumholtz was very good at helping as well during when we were on set.
Yeah, I'm curious. Were you working with a temp score at all? Because so often when you're editing, temp scores help you find those beats before your final score is laid in.
We kind of did, but honestly, we had, we knew we were going for this type of horror type soundtrack in our heads, and we kind of share this brain in that way. And we honestly, when we got into with our soundtrack guy, who was Jonathan Keeling, and he's phenomenal. And we really sat down with him and laid out exactly the tones we were going for. And we edited the music to what we had cut together. But, there were a couple of temp songs that he had done before that we put in. But honestly, it was a lot of making the music after the cut because we already kind of had a version of it in our mind.
I love the sonic, your soundscape and the musicality of the score. It works. Yeah. It works really, really well. I really like how that works.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, we put a lot of effort into that.
Now, this would not be what it is without David. How did you wrangle David Krumholtz to tackle this role of Adam?
I'm friends with David. I've been friends with David for a while, so is Ash. And we reached out to him. We kind of wrote the film with this part, had to be someone who was great. This it just wouldn't read as, this teacher had to be this imposing character and this sort of enigmatic and brilliant, you had to have all these elements, and only someone who was, amazing could do that. And Ash wrote a lot of his speeches, and David, doesn't get to play a whole lot of this type.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't really get to let loose a whole lot like this. He's usually the Jewish guy in his his career. They kind of put him in that box. And so I think when we came to him with this script and we sent it to him, we were like, hey, would you be down to do this? He was very interested. It wasn't a huge commitment, only 4 days of shooting, and he wanted to sort of stretch his wings a little bit and try something new, and he kind of came up with the whole British accent thing just based off of, prepping the lines and everything, and I think that was, so much of it was just, he just came at it from this really unique way, and really understood the character and brought his own experiences of acting classes and acting teachers to it. And, we kind of just let him roll with it. And he obviously turned in that performance, which, the movie kind of hinges on. So
Yeah, I mean, he's brilliant. This is a David Krumholtz we have never seen before that I want to see more of. I mean, he is chameleonic here. But Ash, if you were writing a lot of his quote-unquote monologues that he has, that is some really top-notch verbiage and sentence structure that you have. Really intricate, powerful, and feels very erudite. That fits the character of Adam.
Think, in my head, I must have, because I'm British myself, so I must have had sort of leaned on that like Olivier type way of speaking, those kind of grand metaphors and that kind of pretentiousness almost. And David, we didn't explicitly say this character's British at all. But David must have read it that way, and it translated nicely. So.
Well, when you think, now you guys are actors. Now, when you have an acting teacher, don't you kind of give more credence or more weight to an acting teacher if they are British? Because British, it speaks theater. For the average moviegoer, it's, they were trained in the Royal Dramatic Academy, so therefore they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I think it just plays so well, guys. It really is wonderful.
Well, that's why I think he kind of, he was like, I don't know if this accent's going to track, because I'm switching the accent up and we're like, this is great because it's, this teacher putting on an accent basically to seem more, to get his point across better, but it's so inconsistent, and it really travels across the entire UK.
Yes.
And
English
some
landscape.
other places in Europe.
At moments, I was thinking, Kenneth Branagh playing Laurence Olivier in My Week with Marilyn, hearkening to The Prince and the Showgirl. So I mean, it was a master class in acting, really. Watching David's performance and bringing in all of those slightly off accents. There might have been a little Michael Caine doing Cockney here, or Brano, or Olivier. It works, and when you're an acting teacher, you're trying to teach your students how to get into character, how to flow between character and situation. So it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I know he took some, oh God, I wish I could remember the exact people he was, but David's a huge fan of these old sort of 60s, 70s actors, and particularly them on talk shows. God, I wish I remembered the name, but he really took from some obscure places for some of it, they're just really like these great old European English actors that just really went for it.
Now, did you guys shot list this, or how did you approach this directorially? How did you divvy up your directing responsibilities?
We did it all
yeah,
together.
we did an extensive shot list. Because we were limited to this space, we needed to make sure that every area, every shot was planned for. Otherwise, it could end up being quite a mess, or quite, one note. And we really wanted to avoid that pitfall. But with Enzo acting more in this one, we just trade off when, kind of taking the directing reins when either of us were acting more.
Yeah.
We kind of went through it that way.
So that begs the question, guys. How well does actor Ash take direction from director Ash and director Enzo, and vice versa? How well does actor Enzo take direction from director Ash and director Enzo?
Well, we trust each other so much to serve the vision. We both, like Enzo mentioned earlier, we both share a kind of creative brain on our projects, and we both very much try. Like, this wouldn't have been possible if we didn't trust the other completely. So if one of us was acting and one of us was directing, if we needed a different flavor, we trusted that that's what we needed for the editing room. And so we knew we had to just give it that flavor if we needed it, if the other one called for it.
So now, what did you each learn about filmmaking, about directing, and how that translated into acting with the making of Class?
Well, for me, I mean, it was because it was our first one. There was a lot of learning on the job, especially technically. But also, we had such a great cast of actors who were also our friends, and learning how to, as actors ourselves, we can speak that language. We can speak their language and elicit the performance out of them that we want. And that, I think, was the main thing that I learned was, okay, we can do, it was ultimately that, yeah, we can do this because we'd written together, and this was a test to see, can we direct together? And we learned that we can. And as I mentioned before, it wouldn't have been possible without both of us doing that.
And what about for you, Enzo?
I mean, I think with we've obviously, it was the first time, we learned a lot, but I guess we learned, for me, it was learning to trust your instincts, and that really, if you have a vision and you feel the need to tell a story and it's personal, you really want to, you have a clear idea of what you want to get across, you will eventually be able to get that across through the process of filming, editing, etc.
Yeah. And as long as we don't compromise on that vision either. That was a big lesson, because no one else can see in our heads except for Enzo and I. And so to stick to our guns, so to speak, in terms of our vision, that was crucial. To never compromise wherever possible on the vision, and to have that as the guiding light, that's key. That's it.
So now, what are the chances I'm going to get a series or a feature from this, boys?
Well, we just 2 days ago we just came back from filming our second short film. So it explores similar things. It's not a direct, it's not related to class in any way, but we feel really happy about what we've done, and we're really excited to share. Who knows? We might come back and revisit. I don't know.
We might revisit
where we go.
We love David's character in it. Would love to have more.
Yeah, we'll see.
Of that.
Yeah.
After, I guess we're just gonna see where we can go with it.
Well, we need to see what happens to Max. Does he actually learn from Adam? Does he meet his fate by pool noodle? These are pressing questions that you leave us with, and we need those answers.
We enjoy the open-endedness. We like the ambiguity. We like leading with questions, and we like leaving the audience wanting more. And that's if that's what they want, that's the highest compliment we can get. So. All
right. Well, I want. So now, can you tell me? Can you tell me anything about this next short that you just finished filming?
Yeah. So we haven't mentioned this yet, but class was very much a cult-like atmosphere. And a lot of acting classes we've taken have that cult-like atmosphere. Enzo and I are both really fascinated with cults. And so this next short is an exploration of a cult in a very different format. So it's a similar tone. We're going for that dark comedy horror vibe. And it's another cult we shot in upstate New York in the woods in this beautiful house. And so we're exploring a different angle on a cult, this one.
Ooh, any idea how long before you get that done through post and get it out on the festival circuit?
We'll probably have a cut ready by spring next year, I would say. We'll be ready to start sort of...
We give ourselves some time to really give that the soundtrack and sounds. We really go hard in post and try to make sure each of the elements comes together. So it's hard to give an exact ETA.
Now, will you be doing the editing on this second short as well?
Yes, absolutely. We learned that, like we mentioned, it's in our heads, and it's up to us to translate that, and it's really difficult to hand it over to someone else who's coming in, especially as an editor coming in cold. So we're pretty obsessive, OCD, perfectionistic individuals. So handing our baby over isn't really fun for us.
No. Keep your baby. If the inside of your heads turns out something like Class, no. Keep it all in your heads. I like what's in your heads. So, guys, I can't wait. I can't wait to see the next one, and I can't wait to see where Class goes.
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate your enthusiasm on it, and we're very excited to share this next one with you. We'll definitely send you a cup.
Oh, I can't wait. Guys, thank you so much, and you have a great weekend. Get in that editing bay.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Debbie. Appreciate your time. Thanks for watching our film.